It- May I take just a second and tell y'all how I met Joseph? I played for 10 years on the road with Richie Havens. I was his last side man, I guess you'd say, and traveled all over the world. And it was on our various stops in Florida where I first met him, I thought. And Joseph loved Richie, and he and Richie would steal a moment and go off and talk every now and then. And one day when Joseph was presenting my band here in Gainesville, we took a minute before the gig and had a glass of wine, and we were talking about old guitars. We loved old guitars and vintage guitars and that kind of thing. And we were commiserating about the guitars that had come through our lives and we hadn't held on to. You know, he said, Joseph told me, I was the vintage guitar guy in Gainesville at one point in the 70s. And I go, wow, cool, And I told him I was kind of like the vintage guitar guy in Jacksonville for a while, And he told me one of the stories about one of his lost loves, And I told him one of mine. I said, I had this 1958 Esquire, Fender Esquire, that I bought for $200. And I sold it to some hippie in Gainesville. And about that time, 2 lights went off, Joseph's and mine. And we, in that moment, we knew why we felt familiar to each other all these years. And I just thought it was Joseph's ability to kind of be on my zone, But in fact, we had done time with each other in a really cool way back in Jacksonville. And he looked like one of those guys on the Survivor shows, And I think he might have been my first hippie that I ever dealt with, And I was 14, but the cool thing that we bonded over at that point was having the same guitar come through our lives and leave us, but he loved my acoustic side. I like to cut it loose and do the electric thing every now and then. He didn't care too much for that, anyway, so in Joseph's honor, I'm going to play a song that he enjoyed of my acoustic side, and I brought out Richie Havens' old guitar tonight. So.
Like something sacred, like something beautiful, like something so divine. Right in that moment, right when you know it, right then it's so call.
Walter will be back, too. Never fear.